why they, when they have an opportunity right now, instead of dealing with x86 software, why they didn't sound really impressive and go for what's that other processor that I was used to bug about? The little micro one.
ARM?
ARM, yeah. And go for an ARM processor and put like 16 cores in there
Yeah,
on an ARM.
you'd think.
Because they could rewrite their software and they could have 16 cores running on a new set of software, have new games, and no one's going to bitch about the fact they've got new games. They're like, oh, by the way, the old games don't work. You know.
Yeah.
Guess what? It's not like that's something new that happens.
It's weird, because they've been doing all this stuff on PowerPC chips for the past generation, and now they're like, oh, we're going to go back to Intel, which is what the first Xbox was.
Yeah.
It's so strange.
Well, and now they're going to AMD, which is...
Yeah. Weird. It's very, very weird. Well, even, isn't
I
it...
find it also interesting that they have to put a Blu-ray inside there.
Yeah.
That means that every Xbox sold pays Sony.
That's interesting. All right, so now we're streaming live on YouTube. So anybody who's been waiting around for the past half hour, I'm sorry.
Sorry, YouTube.
It wasn't due to the fact that some of us were late, or it was more due to the fact that I just couldn't get it working.
I was late. He couldn't get it working.
So it didn't really make any difference, one way or the other.
All right.
Cool.
Well, tonight we're talking about the Xbox. Did you put? I don't have. How are we streaming? I haven't seen what this even looks like. I just see, just geez, should I have done something to clean up?
Well, we're streaming at full 1080 on YouTube.
I cannot wait till I have an office where I can actually have my stuff in the background. Soon.
So I gotta see how this works. There's an add insertion button. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we can say this week's show is brought to you by the following random.
Let's do it. We should do it.
Semi-targeted sponsor.
Should we start with? We'll just call it the inappropriate sponsor of the week. Seriously, let's do this. Let's make 2 ad drops in the middle of it. We'll do one at the very beginning, one and one halfway, just like we used to, and just at random. Okay. Whenever you want to break up the show, we'll just do it, and we'll just say, and just to thank our sponsor, clack, and we'll just hit it. Seriously. So YouTube, be ready. We're going to learn how to use this the right way.
It's interesting. There's also slate inserts, slate in and slate out. I don't know exactly how to use those. There's also broadcast alerts where we can put on there that we're having technical difficulties.
Wow.
Or the event has been rescheduled. You can watch real-time analytics of people viewing, how long they viewed, what version of the stream they're viewing.
I would like to see that. Real-time analytics. That would be kind of interesting. If you were doing live shows more often, like, a daily show. I'm going to see if I can find this before we start.
So I posted it on Twitter like a week ago. I should tweet it again.
I saw it posting. Yeah, I would tweet it again. And I would post it. Have you looked inside the chat room at Justin TV?
Oh, no, I should.
I'll go to that.
That's kind of messed up to go to Justin TV and post the link to YouTube.
Your door is more than comical. Are you going to Justin TV?
Not yet.
I'll do it right now. Sorry, YouTubes. You gotta wait for us to get all frigabalabalagated. See, that's one thing we'll have to do. We'll have to stop streaming until we're absolutely ready to go. And then we'll go, stream, go! That way we don't have to watch all this garbage, because who knows we can edit it when we're done.
So the thing I like about it is, well, no, it does post a video of it, but you can kind of put it as like not posted as a listed one. So basically, it's like archived, but it's not like really kind of interfering with the regular show.
Oh, okay.
Although it could just be
I don't want
done.
to sign in the
Just
chat.
do it live, post it. Don't bother about editing.
Hey, there's always that chance.
I could always actually put prep work into it again and try and stream the clips and stuff into the show. Hey, we got 5 people watching. Hello, 5 people.
5 people. So, tonight's show, does this have a title on tonight's show? What it's about? Oh, it does. Good. I hear my echo, so that's interesting. I'm gonna post this on Justin TV, and then we'll get started.
All right.
As soon as I can get this stupid thing to work. Hey, there we go. All right.
So on a somewhat more interesting note, and possibly next week's show, did you see they got raw video for the 5D Mark II now to the card?
Yeah. We talked about this last week.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's also very, very risky.
How's it risky?
The same thing I should tell you about the last Magic Lantern, firmware. Like, you could melt your camera.
Nah.
You also have to have 1,000 speed cards. Have to have.
Depends on what resolution you want to shoot at.
No. Have to have. I've read about this one. Like, have to have.
Well, I have the camera and I shot video on it today, and I have a 600X card.
How many seconds of video did you shoot? Or buffered out?
I probably got about a good 30 seconds.
Before it buffered out?
Before it buffered out, yeah.
Yeah. You need to get the 1,000X cards.
Yeah, I got one coming. Oh, wait, no, this is only a 400X card.
The CompuBay are the cheapest.
CompuBay?
Yeah.
I think I got a SanDisk.
Yeah, you probably pay a little bit for it.
But yeah, I got to figure out how to convert it more, though. I mean, the processing, because you get these weird raw dumps, and then there's a converter that dumps them to individual raw files, or individual DNG files that you can open up in Photoshop, and then people batch process them. So like I don't know. There's got to be a better way to get it to like another more workable raw format that you can load into some kind of speed grade or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I read about the hack, and then I was like, ugh.
No, but they're cool. They've got all kinds of things for monitoring the heat and the temperature and the power, and they've also.
I hope so.
And they also have things that when you're shooting, it'll shut down other features of the camera to use less power.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know. They got it worked out pretty good, I think.
Okay, well, let's do our show tonight since we got people potentially watching online, and since we're live on YouTube versus
down to 3
putting it
people?
on YouTube.
I'm sorry. We said Xbox Live, and I was talking about a camera.
I know. See, that's the problem. We need to stay on task and focus. We can chat about our stuff afterwards.
Oh, back up to 6. I said Xbox. I'll say Xbox again.
Okay, let's go and start. And so we can do, and you said all it is a button for you to insert a sponsor.
Yep. I'm ready.
And does it roll the sponsor right then and there?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. YouTubes, we're sorry. Okay.
Well, see, the thing is,
ready.
like, there's a pre-roll and post-roll during the actual show.
That's fine. We're experimenting.
So this would be our introduction to the live show. Then we'll start our real show.
Well, and then we'll say after we'll go. Welcome to the live show. Tonight's show is sponsored by, and then we'll come back, and then we'll do our intro. Hi, I'm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Can you wait a few minutes?
Okay.
What? Tell me now. No, okay. Tell me now, because you don't have me for 20 minutes. 1 second.
Hi, I'm Pox, and I'm talking to myself. Yes, please post in the comments if you're watching this live. We are live on YouTube, and we are answering questions. So,
Okay.
yeah, so if you're watching this right now, Post in the comments if you have questions.
This is our first real live streaming, and we would really like to be interactive. So
yeah.
We've done interactivity in other places. YouTube has been our new adventure for us.
So please don't mind the squeaking door. It's super windy.
The wind is blowing outside of Brock's house.
It's like a hurricane out there. It's like 80 miles an hour.
Nothing we can do about it. So as far as everything else, welcome to Two Smart Guys live show. We have a tendency to ramble before and or after. More often we will try and take your comments during the show, but if we have to, we'll talk about them after our initial run through. Because what we do is record this part, and this becomes what sits on YouTube later. So as of tonight, let's roll our tonight's unknown sponsor.
Slate insertion was successful. All right, that was our sponsor apparently.
I guess that's our sponsor for tonight. I guess we'll go ahead and start the show.
You know, I should have been watching the live feed to see what that did.
I have been watching the live feed, so.
Did it do anything?
I'm waiting for it to see what happens, and I don't see it.
Is it delayed?
I don't know. I can't tell.
Anyways, today's episode is about Xbox One. Are you ready to record this live?
Yeah, let's go ahead and record our live. Let's go record our show.
All right, so. Hi. The latest and greatest technology, news, mods, hacks, tutorials,
something to break.
All kinds of fun stuff. And this week we're talking about the Xbox One, not to be confused with the Xbox One.
Yeah, not to be confused with the original Xbox One, the new Xbox One.
Yeah, the new Xbox One, the one that's newer than the Xbox 360.
Yeah, because why would we, when we start throwing numbers out there, why not just start back at the beginning?
Yeah, so.
One. So, I can tell you right now, I'll be completely honest, I don't care.
Couch Guy's not
I don't want people to think that I'm being cynical for anything like that. I don't care. I'm not an Xbox fan. I've been a PlayStation user forever, and as though I think it's neat, I'm not enthusiastic about Xbox. So I will try and keep a chipper mood because people complain about me being cynical about things I don't like. But I'll be upfront and say I don't care.
So interesting.
Fox, on the other hand, is very excited because he likes new.
Yeah, I like new anything. I don't care if it's the Xbox or the Wii or the whatever. It's a new system, and it's very interesting what the choices that they've made in this system. They went back to being like a regular Xbox One. So this is like the true sequel to an Xbox. Because the Xbox 360 was more like a PlayStation or a Nintendo. It was an actual gaming system. The Xbox One is a huge PC. It's an 8-core AMD running Windows. It's Xbox OS with a Windows custom kernel and hypervisor. So,
which we talked about. We think this is an opportunity lost for Xbox because one, they're running x86 architecture, which means they're probably going to be backwards compatible.
No, that's the other thing. It's not going to be backwards compatible.
Okay, so even bigger loss
system.
Because I thought it was going to be backwards compatible with being x86. I thought x86, okay, they'll be a backwards compatible.
Not backwards compatible,
but they're still x86, and they moved with an AMD processor. If they had gone for, I'm going to forget the name of the processor, the
RISC-based, like your cell phone. Not RISC, ARM.
If they went for an ARM-based processor, instead of putting 8 cores in there, they could have put 16 or 32 core systems inside there for a very, very smaller heat imprint, a very, very smaller power imprint, and still had a huge, like servers are having some very huge successes with, multi-processing abilities with these ARM processors. Why not, if you're going to bust out a brand new system, and you're going to bust out a brand new thing and boot everybody off of it anyway, why not go for an ARM system? Why not go for something that's going to be less heat with a higher processor count?
I think they did it because AMD bought, ATI, and supposedly this new generation of chips are going to be very super integrated. So they complement each other very well. From what I'm told.
I did see it was going to have 8 gigs of RAM, and that's
It's interesting. Great. Only 5 are going to be available to the game. The rest are going to be dedicated to the OS. So
which means it's probably going to be trying to keep the damn thing running and making sure you're not pirating stuff.
Well, it's interesting. Like I was watching the keynote, and they were showing off how you just talk to it and you can say watch ESPN, back to game, and it flips around between things. It's also the Kinect sensor is like you have to have it. I mean, it will not turn on and it will not work unless you have the Kinect connected to it. The new one.
It has to watch you.
Yeah, it's always watching and it's always listening. So as soon as you say Xbox, it has an HDMI pass-through. So when you're watching TV, it's still there.
So there's an episode of 30 Rock where Donaghy creates a TV that you can talk instructions to. I think that this is the appropriate time to insert the foul, the mistakes that happen because of that.
Well, it's cool, or it's interesting, because not only is it listening to you all the time, it's watching you all the time. So there's gestures. Like if you want to go back to your home screen, you do this little beep thing, and it goes back to the home screen.
To me, I don't know. That's where I start wondering about whether or not people really care. Is when they care about these things like, oh, is it watching me?
Yeah, it's got a full HD Kinect camera now, so it actually can tell if you're breathing and judge your heart rate, and it can judge rotation of like your limbs.
So if you die while playing the game, which most people feel like at some point they're gonna have cardiac arrest, maybe it'll call 911 for you.
Maybe.
Have they revised their system so that they're not charging you through the bunghole for a monthly fee for something that should be free?
It's interesting. They did not say that in the announcement, what they were going to charge for the new Kinect or the new Live, but they did tout that it's going to be in the cloud, more thanks to the cloud. And
everybody keeps on saying that crap.
Weren't they already doing that with the original Xbox Live?
You know what they're doing? They're doing the same thing that PlayStation is saying. Is what that means is they don't want to sell you a disc. They do not want to sell you a disc. They want you to buy stuff online.
Well,
which as time goes on, this is becoming more and more appealing, and I don't think that it's going to be a problem. But this is where I probably have the biggest problem with cloud-based services, because I really, for games and things like that, I do want a disc.
Well, speaking of discs,
it's not a piece of software.
They said they need to have a disc, and they need to have more storage than a single CD.
This makes me laugh.
So they put Blu-ray in it.
Yeah. So just so you know, for everybody who hates Sony, from now on, when you buy a Xbox, you're supporting Sony, because every Sony Blu-ray that's ever bought gets a royalty paid to Sony. So they developed the technology. So nothing you can do about that. Funny, but appropriate. What else can you do? You're not only going to create a new system. So you have two options. You can do solid state based, which means cards and chips, which no one likes. But that means that if you put a Blu-ray inside there, you can actually have it as a Blu-ray player.
I think they should have done solid state. They might as well have, because you can get like a 32 gig card now for like $20 or so, right?
I agree. Well, that's the thing. Nobody likes the cards. They like the discs.
Yeah. And I guess the problem with that is, it costs $1 or less to make a Blu-ray.
Yeah. Right.
And it holds 50.
It holds 50 gigs, so.
Or possibly more, depending if they put a variation of it in there.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It really is a better choice.
So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. The controller, this is the original Xbox One controller. It looks almost identical to the new Xbox One controller.
Yeah.
It looks more like this one than it does the last one, which is very interesting. But they've got impulse triggers, where you can program directional vibration into the controller. It's interesting. Anyways.
Huh. So should we go for our mid-show unknown sponsor break?
Sure. So
unknown sponsor break.
Yeah.
Starting now.
All right.
Okay.
So hopefully that gave you some time to think about what
your options are coming up, because there's two systems going to be competing for each other, and I think it really interesting that Xbox waited for PlayStation's announcement, in my opinion, to come out, because it's been 4 months since PlayStation announced, and they both are going to come out at the same time. The Wii U's got their traditional 1 year head start.
It's interesting because it was EA Games that dropped the Wii U already. They're like, we're not going to make any more games for it. It was one of the major developers.
They just don't care.
And they say it's a last generation system. It's a current generation system. It's a current generation. They finally caught up with the Xbox 360 and PS3. They're saying, well, it can't compete with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. The games won't be compatible. They won't be able to make them for one system.
They won't make the same experience if they make a PlayStation 4 game. So, my opinion, if I were to be a betting man, is that we can almost guarantee that you'll see PlayStation one-up the battle by having PlayStation come out not 1080p, but come out with 4K possibilities. Not 3D. Who cares about 3D? But 4K.
They've already announced that the Xbox will do 4K as well.
Of course they did.
And they're both running the same CPU, GPU as each other, pretty much. Yeah. They're both the AMD, Intel, or an AMD x86.
Well, that's good, because that means that you'll actually have an apples-to-apples comparison when they actually say, this looks better on this system. You could actually put them both up on identical TVs and really see, because before we really couldn't. So
it'll be interesting. Anyways, post your comments below. What do you think? What's going to be the winner of the next gen system? You think Xbox is still going to be playing pretty strong, or is Sony going to pull ahead?
Does it even matter? Truly, with the amount of times that we spend on our phones playing games instead of playing console games, doesn't even matter anymore.
Or is Nintendo's idea of putting the big pad in front of you on the controller going to work out? You know what? The games that did it right, it's really cool. The problem is there's very few of them. That's my opinion.
The kids, the kids our kids' age, like yours and mine, think it's fantastic. I don't think that it's for a serious gamer. I don't think the Wii is ever, and it never has really played in a strategic role with a serious gamer. I think that you're going to see the divide go towards the family system, which is exactly where Wii belongs, and then the serious gamer systems, which are going to have, the PlayStation and the Xbox. But that also, in some ways, if they start, jockeying around, screwing things up, that leaves room for a third-party system to start coming in. And you can have somebody else, it may not be the powerhouse that Microsoft or Sony is, but somebody else trying to build a system. So
it'd be interesting that this is actually going to be a PC. Are we going to be able to hack this thing? I mean, it's going to be easier to hack because it's a computer.
Yeah, significantly. But that's the thing. I'm curious what kind of interface it really is going to give you because of the Kinect and because of things like that. Is it going to record you? I know you're hacking me. Click.
Probably. It's always on. It's always recording. You never turn it off.
That's an awkward thing to think about. It's always recording.
And it's always connected.
Yeah, and it needs to be connected to the internet all the time. And anyway, it'll be interesting to. Because I always like a new gaming system. I favor the PlayStation only because I really enjoy the PlayStation. I don't have
competition is good.
To buy it is absolutely wonderful, and I don't disagree with that at all. I think there are some really great things that Xbox have put out. I just don't prefer the system, and I'm forward about that. I don't want to say that it's a terrible system. I just don't like it. I don't care. But I think it's great that they're coming out with something new. Because if they didn't, then what's the incentive for anybody else? Truly, yeah. I agree.
All right.
So tell me on your show notes, what kind of fun things you are thinking about. And I'm sure there are plenty of Xbox fanboys out there who will tell me how wrong I am, and that's okay.
All right. So we do this live show every Wednesday night. We're going to start doing this on YouTube now. So if you subscribe to our feed, I think you'll get notices of the live events every Wednesday night. So be sure
to subscribe because we'll do it live, and then we put on the after he puts all the pretty bits on there.
Yeah, so we shave it down to a nice little 10-minute-ish version, 10 to 20 minutes.
That's all the rambling that I do.
So the condensed spit and polish version's out on Mondays, and then our live shows will be on Wednesday nights. And sometimes on the weekends I'll go ahead and I'll live broadcast while I'm actually doing some of the hacks and tutorials, just so you guys can keep me company. That doesn't mean
you can miss the live broadcast, because a live broadcast has all the gems that get cut out that gets put on the Monday show, because the Monday show has to be tighter, has to be smaller. You can miss all the good stuff when you're not watching the live show.
All right, see you guys next week.
Bye.
All right, so I got some questions here in the comments now, it looks like.
I was trying to find the live feed again because my computer, it froze up and I couldn't see. Where is it streaming anymore? It doesn't say.
So twosmartguys.com.
Got it. No, I got it now.
You know what? I need to put that on our website.
Okay, so we are probably about 2 minutes behind. When is it coming out? Nobody knows. That's the truth. We think the holiday season. We don't have an actual date. The view all comments. That's what I need to do.
Let's bring back the Panasonic 3DO. You know, the 3DO was an awesome system. It was $500. Guess how much the new Xbox and PlayStation are probably going to cost?
Yeah, I can't imagine. You know what? There's a good chance they're not going to be worth $499. There really is a good chance of that.
I think I read something saying they'll have different models with different storage or whatever, and one of them's going to be $450.
Yeah, because it's that magic moment where like people will pay $400 and then feel like they're getting premium for $500, but it really is a magic price point. That anything above that, and people are like, yeah, I'm buying a small car for this.
I think if the Wii U wasn't doing so poorly as it is, they would really do it like the same price as the Wii U, like $350. But since it's not selling,
the last three products I can think of from the Wii have failed. So, and they've all gone down dramatically in price.
Last three products.
Okay, so the DS XL Mega thing, the 3DS sold like crap, and the for initial launch dates, and the Wii U.
I think the 3DS is smoking the PlayStation though, the Vita.
Well, I'm sure it's smoking the Vita, but the point is, the 3DS is smoking the Vita because they went from $400, which you paid for it, down to what, $199?
Oh, for the Vita?
No, for the 3DS.
Oh no, it was $200. It was $200, and they dropped it to.
No, it was not $200 when it first came out. It was more like $400 when it first came out. It was expensive.
No, maybe it was $249, and they dropped it down to $199.
I think it's $299.
And then they dropped it to $179.
They dropped to $179 pretty dang fast.
They dropped like $50 off of it, and they gave everybody games because they were like, we're dropping it so much.
Original. I'm gonna look it up. Oh, come here. Original price of.
Plot twist: Dreamcast 2 conquers console market. That's what I'm talking about. Come on, we need a Dreamcast 2. The Dreamcast 2 was really the Xbox because the Dreamcast was a Windows CE machine, as was the Xbox, and they were very similar.
So, I just because I never had one as a kid, did Sega turn into the Sony PlayStation system?
What?
Did Sega Genesis turn into Sony PlayStation?
No.
What? So where did Sega Genesis go?
It became a Sega Saturn, which flopped like a fish.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the Dreamcast, which I thought was doing pretty good. It had some initial sales. I thought
the Dreamcast and Sony kind of together, but
no. And then PlayStation 2 came out and just wasted the Dreamcast. Nobody bought it. It dropped down to $100, and they just got rid of the thing. People stopped making games for it, like immediately.
Yeah. Okay, so $249 looks like the original price, and then it went to $169 and then $149.
Yeah.
$69. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I just remember it dropped like a third very quickly.
It did. It did drop really fast, and then they were like, "We're going to give you 50." It was like, I can't remember how many games it was, but it was a bunch of games. It was like 15 games or something, like just the little dinky ones, not anything huge.
Yeah.
Which was nice of them, as opposed to not giving you anything and dropping at $50.
Yeah, I have to agree. The mobile stuff is what's really killing a lot of these handheld things. Well, that was our contention when we talked about the Vita coming out. how mobile systems, like, why would you carry this when you've got your cell phone already with you? Especially when PlayStation started really marketing towards cell phones and they had the PlayStation phone system something.
Oh yeah, that didn't really work out. The Xperia, whatever the crap it
No,
was.
it never works out. You know why? Because they just keep on trying to put it on Sony systems. PS2 games, but nobody cares. So if you're like me and you'll like hang on to the PS3 for another 4 years, like always. Whereas Pox will be like the day one, he'll have bought four of them, then you'll be able to buy them on eBay from him, which is probably the smart thing to do.
You know,
I'll wait
I didn't
4
do that on the
years.
last couple systems. I got nervous.
You should be nervous.
I'm glad I didn't, because the last 3 systems were Nintendo systems, and sure enough, there was extras on the shelf.
I'm curious whether there'll be extras on the shelf with this new stuff too, because I think they're both gambling. If it really is a 4K system, I think that Sony has a chance.
It's the case of games sell the system, and if there's no good games, they don't have anything to sell.
Well, and I think that the fact that backwards compatibility always helps.
Yeah.
Because if you know that you've got
Neither
games that you
system's
like,
gonna
you can
have it.
take it home. Yeah, and that's the problem because when you have a system that you go home and you're like, hey, I've got 6 games that I really like. Let's play them on the new system, see if they're better. I'll save my money and buy a game when they come out. Because let's be honest, the first 3 months of games that come out suck. There's usually 1 or 2 major titles, which we know that when it comes to Xbox, it'll be a Halo system. It'll be a Halo game. What else? It'll usually be proprietary games. What's another big game from Xbox?
Gears of War.
Gears of War. It'll be Gears of War, Halo, and probably a
The motorsport, the Forza Motorsport
Yeah.
or whatever it is.
okay. So and then the PlayStation, we know it'll be the Gran Turismo because that's their motor, or it'll be what's the other one? It'll be a racing game, just like the same. You'll have a racing
Yeah.
game. You'll have what's the adventure game with the
Drake
the Drake guy.
Uncharted.
I have this game, Uncharted. You'll have another Uncharted game, and then you'll have a shooter, a
a
first-person
lot of
shooter.
times they always pull out of an old card too, something from an older system that skipped a generation or whatever. So they might bring out like
Well, you'll have a
Sly
reissue,
Cooper or
and what you'll have is
something
you'll have
like
like
that.
the last 2 games plus a new soft pack that gets added to it,
yeah.
and then you'll have something that's a shooter, and then what you'll have is over both systems you'll have your Modern Warfare, you'll have a couple things like that pop out, which are just big sellers, and both systems will enjoy them.
Yeah, the new
they're gonna
Batman
sell
game is
no
going to
matter what.
be out on both of them and the old system. So I don't know how much of a
It'll be, we'll see that, but that'll be the only interesting game that happens in the first 3 to 6 months, guaranteed. And that's just not enough to carry, new viewers, or new buyers.
What they're going to do
You
is
have to have.
they're going to release old games in 4K for download, like they're doing now.
Stuff's gonna look like crap.
That's what they're doing now, though. They're releasing all these old PS2 games in HD, for download on the PS3. They'll do the same thing. That's how they're going to get their backwards compatibility. They're going to be like, oh, you can rebuy it.
Yeah, you can buy it again.
You can buy it again.
For your imaginary 4K television.
You apparently can get that cheap one for was it $1,500?
I have to say I've been reading some different blogs, and the one that I get the biggest kick out of is our friend Philip Bloom likes to put it as in, like, what's the consumer say, and this is exactly what I've ran into. Like, nobody cares.
No.
But anybody who's not into the tech geek side of it, or isn't a pixel peeper, or doesn't even understand or even want to understand resolution, doesn't care.
Most of the people I know don't even care about HD.
Yeah,
They want to have a big TV, but they don't care if it's
I
HD.
worked with quite a few people. I used to work with quite a few people before I was working here, who had a 50-inch HD TV, and were connecting it with component cables.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm like, are you kidding?
the Xbox One, only HDMI, no component, no composite.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's like, you don't even have an HDMI hooked up. What are you doing? They're like, I'm like, don't you have an HD cable? They're like, well, yeah. I'm like, well, why don't you hook it up that? Well, it's just another thing, and I don't want to have to change the inputs. And like, you bought this TV, you paid $1,100 for this TV, and you can't even connect it correctly.
Yeah.
Which adds into the other campaign of turn off smooth motion, turn off the
Oh God,
hyper
yes.
smoothing, and all this other crap that goes into it.
From the vivid color settings that just blow everything out.
Turn it all off.
What it reminds me of is audio discs, because tapes were pretty good. They sounded all right. They didn't have issues. And then the CDs came out. They sounded better. And then they're like, oh, the next thing is going to be DVD audio, or what was it, SA audio or whatever it was.
Something. It was something must be like, it's when they started talking about bit rates and things like that. Like, oh, but it won't be 44.1. It'll be 196 kilobits per second.
Yeah.
It'll be all this.
Then,
no, it's not.
And then it went the totally opposite way of the spectrum. Everybody's like, screw.
Everything went to crash.
They're like, no. They're like, we'd rather have MP3s.
MP3s jammed them down as ugly as possible.
Low quality, highly compressed.
And the funny thing is, we're even worse now, because now we have streaming Pandora, which is far even worse than, MP3s.
Actually, that's not true.
The mid-range, the mid-range was crushed there. Now you have compression and streaming built on top of it. So depending on where your streaming ability is, it gets...
The Pandora stream, I think, the high quality stream is like 256K now. It's like really high.
That depends on what your streaming ability is on your other. If you're, if you're at your work connection, you're probably fine. If you're working a DSL connection...
Did you see my tweet about my work connection today?
I didn't see it. I didn't look at Twitter today.
700 megs.
Wow.
I was disappointed because I was only getting like 660 megs, and it was the router. The router I was using wasn't.
Do they get the fiber connected to your building?
Yeah, I mean they upped it to. I've had the fiber connection, just didn't have it turned up that high.
So, oh, okay.
We're getting a second one. We're getting a second one put in. It's just going to be another 100 megs, but.
That's what I meant, was the second one you're having put in. That was what we were just talking about.
Yeah, they haven't put it in yet, the second one. They just upped the current one. Alright. So.
Alright, well, internet's where I think we're pretty much worn you out. You haven't commented for a while, so.
I see
this is the extra fun stuff.
We will release 4K games in a. Oh, they'll re-release 4K games. Yeah.
Oh, I missed some. Oh! Show 5 new comments. My apologies, guys. I'm going to ignore you. Do you think we will have a digital medium format cinema cameras? I don't know. It depends on how 4K takes off. Because here's my rub, and you're in the right place to talk about cinema 4K cameras, because I really like cinema stuff. Once you get past the Super 35 sensor, you change everything. And it's not about how much data gets moved. It's about your lenses. It's about the gear systems. It's about everything that's built up around cinema stuff. So as far as consumer and prosumer, and even a lot of professional stuff, has been working its way towards cinema stuff in terms of like gearings and rigs and things like that. Well, all of cinema stuff is based off of that 35 millimeter film plane, with the exception of IMAX. Now, we're not going to talk about IMAX because IMAX is completely different. But most of it, everything has been geared towards that 35 millimeter, and not even 70 millimeter, which is the IMAX side. This is the 35 millimeter, R cameras. That adapted really well towards Super 35 cinema sensors because the lenses worked and PL everything. Once you go to medium format and the 70 millimeter sensor size, everything changes. You have to have lenses that are like this and gear systems that don't work. And so, no, I don't think we're going to see it anytime soon. I think you'll find some novelty stuff. Sorry, guys, I have a cold.
Medium format? How big is that?
Yeah, 70 millimeter.
Oh, that is IMAX, isn't it?
Yeah, it's IMAX.
Oh, okay.
But IMAX is a bitch to shoot. And then the reason why they shoot what they do is because it's a very specialty, rig, and it runs
Yeah, but when
sideways.
that goes digital, it'll be easier.
It won't be easy to shoot because
The lens will still
that's
be big.
what I'm saying is the lenses for IMAX are the only thing that's going to transition, and there's not that many.
You'll be able to
There's
screw
not
the
that.
little camera on the back of the IMAX lens.
Yeah, but what's going to happen is you're going to have a heat sink on the back of it. It's like this big because that sensor is just so monstrous.
Well, I don't know. Did you see Red? Well, they didn't come out with it, of course, but Red showed off a sensor
Red's
years
been
ago.
talking about having a sensor that was like this big for you. They're like, we can make a sensor any size. Yeah. Here's our 65K.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was, here's our thing. But at the same time, there's a reality to that. Like, how can you move the data? How can you move? And the only thing they can do is go towards the IMAX crowd, which, sure, we may see it, but because the IMAX crowd is such a diehard film crowd, I don't know that we're going to see it move anytime soon.
Never say never.
No, I would never think it's not going to happen. I think someone's going to build it. I just don't know how soon they're going to do it because everyone's really trying to get their head around let's move everything to digital and then standard cinema. And the guys that do IMAX, they love their film cameras. And I'm sure, like if you could find a Christopher Nolan who is a huge IMAX shooter in film, like doing the Batman stuff like that, who could actually willingly shoot digital, which he won't.
No. Or 3D.
Maybe. He won't shoot 3D, he won't shoot digital. Why? Yeah. 3D sucks, and digital doesn't give him what he wants. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, he makes a very, very good point about why he doesn't shoot some of the ways that, he's like, why would I do that?
Hasselblad lenses?
I'm missing this stuff.
Huh. I don't know enough about IMAX to talk about it. I'm just stoked that I'm going to be able to record RAW on my little 5D Mark II for little effect shots and things and small bursts.
Yeah, well, I've seen people what is the length on the time? Because it's not 30 seconds. It's
4 gigs.
Okay, so you're still 4 gig.
So you can shoot for a few minutes.
So a minute 30 is roughly what you're going to get, right?
Yeah, and it's also still not full HD. So what people are doing instead is they're doing CinemaScope-like resolution. So
that's a good idea. That's a really good solution, actually.
Yeah.
235.
But apparently,
no, I don't think they're going to be allowed to do something.
On the Mark III, you'll be able to shoot full and maybe even higher resolutions than what Canon's limiting you to through Magic Lantern, which is kind of interesting.
What the crap is with this camera? All right, I think we lost some subscribers. So.
Concurrent viewers 4. Well, thank you for the rest of you watching. It's been fun. We'll do it again next week. I think I'm probably going to do a little tutorial on shooting in RAW on DSLRs. Because they're doing it for all the cameras. It's not just the 5D or the...
yeah, you could do it with the T2i.
Like yeah.
If you can get it done.
So
you want to see it. What you ought to do is see if you can make that camera smoke.
The T2i?
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Because the plastic bodied cameras... Yeah, that just... Remember how hot that thing got when we were just trying to shoot green screen and nothing special?
Oh, the T2i?
The T2i, yeah.
Well, we were also shooting it in the summer with the lights on and everything.
What does it matter?
It's hot.
You want to shoot it with like a nitrogen back? It's it's gonna get hot.
I don't know. This has never gotten hot that I could tell.
No, because it's a magnesium body. It takes it differently. And it's got a bigger, it's got things like that consideration built into it. Anyway.
All right, well.
Am I interested in copy.com? Because I can send you a copy.com thing.
I signed up for your copy.com.
I know. I was like, you have, but nobody else
Pete
has.
tried to get me to sign up, but he got to me after you did. Probably from you.
Yeah, he got it from me. He called me the other day, and he was like, hey, I got this and there's stuff going on. I'm like, hey, you want to do me a favor? Sign this up. I'm trying to get to the 100 gig mark because 100 gigs is what you get when you pay for them, and I'm up to
Oh.
60. I'm up to 60 gigs right now.
Really?
But I want to get to 100 gigs of available storage. I want to see if they stop me at some point. Like, all right, enough is enough.
Are you filling it up?
No,
You
not
should.
yet. I'm working on it right now. I'm working with a friend of mine. We're working on a system where I've got some work stuff on there now. I've got probably about 8 gigs on it. But with him, he and I share cinematic tastes every now and then. And instead of going through thumb drives and things like that, to look at these foreign films, he's going to post them here and there in these shorts, and he runs into. So they automatically download to my computer that way.
Yeah. My connections are getting fast enough now that you can do it. It's funny because like my connection at work is actually faster than the wireless internet. The wireless connection. So
Capabilities.
yeah. So you have to have gigabit to take advantage of it. This guy says he wants us to get a Blackmagic 4K camera.
Yeah, so do I. So I'll tell you what, you and about 10,000 more subscribers need to subscribe to the show and watch it continuously for like the next 3 months. Because if you do that, we might make $500, which might mean that we could actually, have enough seed money between the two of us if we could do it without getting our wives after us. Yeah. I do want that camera, but I think I'm gonna buy. I found the processor. I think I'm gonna put inside my future computer.
Oh yeah.
I should show it to you. It's the go to Newegg.
Are you gonna get an Intel?
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Intel. They run faster inside of Premiere and Adobe systems.
The specs on AMD are awesome and they're cheap, but from all the benchmarks I've seen, Intel just smokes them.
Yeah. Okay, so look up the 3930K.
Sandy Bridge. Wait.
Yeah.
Why are you getting a Sandy Bridge?
Do you see how many cores it has?
6 cores. No. Don't get it. It's $600. Right. And it's it's
$600.
It's 2 generations behind. Ivory Bridge is what's current, and Ivory Bridge is the last one.
Ivory Bridge is $1,000.
And the Haswells are already out in some systems. And this is 32 nanometer. They're down to it's like 22 nanometer, I think.
Yeah, but the point is that it's coming cheaper because of it. And it'll be a 12. It'll show as a 12 core or 12 processor system.
Go to Tom's Hardware and do your research on CPUs before you buy them. They do charts on things. And it's amazing. Like
we should probably cancel the live stream right now. By the way. YouTube, we're gonna say good night before we get talking about. Toys.
Robert Spear asks one last thing here. Do you think there will ever be RAW shooting on Nikon cameras? I wish I could shoot RAW on mine, Miss Magic Lantern on Canons. Never say never?
Honestly, because Canon didn't come out with this, I don't know if someone is as interested in Nikon cameras as Magic Lantern is.
The Panasonics get hacked and the Canons get hacked. I haven't heard of any major hacks for Nikons.
Yeah, they could if there's something that comes out, but Nikons aren't popular enough with the shooters.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you guys for joining. Please tune in again next week. We'll see you.